Mr. Speaker, today is the last day of Parliament. So before I make my report, I just would like to make a few remarks and share my thoughts with my colleagues and yourself. I wish to convey the gratitude of myself and my family to the people of Oro for giving me the mandate to represent them in Parliament during this term, and to the people of Papua New Guinea for their support and giving me the support that they have given over the years during this term. I wish to thank all those in government under the Prime Ministership of James Marape, a government that I've been part of, a government that has come and done significant work in just a few short years. And I would like to also thank the opposition under the opposition leader, Honourable Belden Namba, for their efforts in holding us to account and representing also the people of Papua New Guinea. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and the staff of the Parliament who have worked tirelessly with very limited resources to do the best they can so that they can manage the affairs of Parliament so that we could stand here and present ourselves, represent our people. I thank our development partners as well, and I would like to thank the members of my committee, the Special Parliamentary Committee on Public Sector Reforms. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Public Sector Reforms and Service Delivery, I am honoured to be able to present this first interim report of our work so far, which will need to be continued through a few Parliament cycles to really bear the fruits, the results in this area that our country so desperately needs. This interim report number 1 of 2022 presents the concepts for the creation of this committee as currently defined. In reviewing the former committee's work and in commencing our work in earnest to execute our terms of reference, we discovered that a sound strategy was essential. A question a reasonable person is entitled to ask is, why is the performance of the public sector a parliamentary focus? And the answer is that the subject is of such a public concern and universal despair that it has triggered the legislator to peer over the lines and ask questions to the responsible arms of government why there appears to be such a state of paralysis to hold the public sector to account. Mr. Speaker, in this Honourable House, for many years, elected leaders have lamented the lack of service delivery by the public sector. Every year, the members of this House approve up to a third of our annual budget going towards ever-increasing salaries and emoluments to feed a runaway creature who no longer does what its owner pays it to do. By current design, the public sector is our only option to deliver the most basic of services and infrastructure to our people. Much has been written and researched, motivated by concerns of a failing public sector system. Mr. Speaker, we have concluded that much needs to be done about growing the drivers of our systems, which used to work at independence. As a nation, we are today sadly graded at the wrong end of the global scales in harvesting the neglect of basic education and health to our people, and also by deliberate failure of administration. It is apparent that success at sustainable reform of the public sector must entail us growing our human resources. This, we estimate, will require the full cooperation of the whole machinery of government over 4 to 5 parliamentary terms. In fact, I would suggest that it ought to be a constant, continuous, and consistent effort. We are convinced that any reform has to be done on the basis of solid data and data analysis, not on knee-jerk reaction. To that end, I thank the New Zealand government's 2021 commitment to journey with us in the establishment of this critical data as described in the latter part of this report. In particular, Honourable Lua Manuvoa Dame Winnie Leban, Commissioner Peter Hughes, Commissioner of New Zealand, and his hard-working staff, the Deputy Commissioner, Tanya Ott, Roy Langolango, and Tina McNicholas, assisted by His Excellency Honourable Philip Taula, New Zealand's High Commissioner to Papua New Guinea. I thank the Honourable Prime Minister, James Marape, for supporting this parliamentary committee. And I thank the honourable members of the committee for providing quorum for its sittings and deliberations. We have held 6 hearings. A few financially significant results of the committee work have been 2. Launched the 4-year stalled public service payroll review, which the nation has been crying out for so long. Once completed and if followed through by the next committee, this shall save millions of kina in restoring integrity back to it by cancelling ghost names and dealing with multiple personalities on single positions. Adamantly demand that the procurement and distribution of medical supplies be subjected to proper tender with the inclusion of appropriate international human standards. Step into the National Housing Corporation to stem the public outcry of allegations of mismanagement of state housing assets. The Secretariat has run technical sessions with over 40 state instrumentalities and related individuals in the quest for immediate and strategic long-term reforms. We intend to keep up the current momentum right up to the formation of the next parliament in August this year and will not stop just because we are heading into the national general elections. The efforts of the public sector reform cannot stop, must not stop, will not stop. Therefore, we recommend that this committee be made a permanent committee and that this parliament authorize the work done so far to be continued into any next special parliamentary committee on public sector reforms and service delivery. Further to that, the efforts by this committee must be migrated out of it and institutionalized so that there is an established authority which effectively audits and monitors the public sector performance and appointments without political or external capture. I commend this interim report to Parliament, and I ask that this Honourable House endorse the work of this committee to be carried forward into future Parliament sittings if and when this committee is reconstituted. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.